Have you ever felt your world stop in its tracks? When the weight of endless to-dos, past regrets, or nagging self-doubt pins you down so completely that even the simplest next step feels impossible? In those moments, it's as if the future you once imagined has slipped just out of reach, and any thought of moving forward freezes in its tracks. Somewhere between the rush of our schedules and the hum of our to-do lists, we've lost touch with fundamental truths that have guided creatures across millennia. We've forgotten the art of resting when we're weary, the power of play when we're weighed down, and the strength of standing together when the world feels too big to face alone. But what if the key to untying those knots isn't hidden in yet another productivity hack or pep talk, but in the quiet persistence of a creature far removed from our frantic pace? Imagine a sea turtle, centuries old in its lineage, laboring inch by inch up a moonlit beach, each deliberate flipper stroke carrying it closer to the water's edge. In its steady rhythm, we find a lesson in slow, unwavering progress that resonates deeply with our own need to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Today, I invite you on a journey into the wild to remember what we keep forgetting. We'll follow three teachers: the sea turtle, the otter, and the elephant, each embodying a lesson in presence, joy, and connection. These aren't distant oddities, they're living mirrors reflecting truths we once knew, but too often leave behind in our scramble for more. Let their stories wash over you like that tide-kissed shore, remind you how to find your breath, your laughter, and your place in the circle of life. Sea turtles, the wisdom of slow persistence. Picture an endless beach, pale sand stretching toward an indifferent horizon. A lone sea turtle hauls its heavy shell up the shore, each movement deliberate, each stroke of its flipper a quiet insistence. This journey is not a short sprint. The turtle crawls over obstacles, drifting debris, unpredictable tides, the dark silhouette of a passing boat, yet it never loses its purpose. Inch by inch, it presses forward, guided by an ancient knowing that the shore it seeks lies beyond each obstacle. This simple act of slow persistence holds a mirror to our own lives. We are quick to judge ourselves for not moving faster, for not achieving every goal on our self-imposed timeline. In the rush to arrive, we trample the very ground that nourishes our next steps. But like the sea turtle, real progress is measured in quiet consistency. It's waking up each morning, small wins and stumbles alike, and choosing to put one foot, one flipper, before the other. It's trusting that the destination is worth the patient effort, even when the shoreline is not yet in sight. Next time you feel discouraged by the pace of your own journey, recall the turtle's steady advance. Breathe in the night air, feel the weight of your own will, and remember that every inch counts toward eventual triumph. Otters, the power of playful connection. Now drift with me into a sunlit river bend where a family of otters floats together on their backs, paws linked in a raft of companionship. Their laughter isn't measured in words, but in gleaming eyes and rippling whistles, a language of pure delight. Watch how they crab walk along the riverbed, sliding down muddy banks, chasing each other with playful abandon. In the water, they build invisible bonds of trust. Shells passed between paws, gentle nudges to stay close, a shared joy that ripples through the current. They do not wait for stress to subside before they play. They let playfulness be the balm that lightens their load. In our own lives, we relegate play to the margins, an afterthought once deadlines are met or problems are solved. Yet otters remind us that play is not a distraction, but an essential thread in the tapestry of well-being. It is through play that we recharge our spirits, spark creativity, and strengthen the social bonds that sustain us. Imagine a day punctuated by small moments of levity, a shared joke with a friend, a spontaneous dance in the kitchen, a carefree walk without a destination. In those moments, the weight of worry lifts and connection blooms in the simplest gestures. The next time you find your shoulders tensing and your mind spiraling, pause and invite a playful element, however small, into your day. Let laughter be your raft, carrying you back to the shore of lightness. Elephants, the grace of shared empathy. Finally, step into the shade of an ancient acacia, where a herd of elephants gathers in a silent vigil. One matriarch stands over a newborn calf, trunk curled gently around its fragile frame. Elsewhere, others cluster around a grieving companion, offering quiet presence rather than words. Even in the vast expanse of the savanna, these giants never stand alone. Elephants carry the weight of the world in their memories, remembering lost kin, honoring the rhythms of birth and death with ritual and respect. Their empathy is not an act of diplomacy, but a living bond that knits each individual into the strength of the whole. In human life, we often treat emotional hardship as a private burden, a silent struggle we bear in isolation. Yet elephants teach us that empathy multiplies our resilience. When we share our grief, our doubts, our vulnerabilities, we weave a safety net of understanding that lightens the load for everyone. Picture a circle of friends seated together as one confesses a fear, another a failure, and a third offers a hand on a shoulder. In that circle, pain is acknowledged, tears are shared, and healing begins. Empathy becomes the salve that soothes old wounds and strengthens the bonds of community. The next time you sense a friend, or yourself, carrying an unspoken sorrow, lean in. Offer your presence without judgment, your ear without agenda, and trust that shared empathy will carry you both forward. As we step back from the patient crawl of the sea turtle, the joyful play of the otters, and the gentle circle of the elephant herd, a single, luminous thread of wisdom begins to shine through. That the deepest strengths of life are woven not from grand gestures or sudden epiphanies, but from the rhythms of steady persistence, genuine joy, and shared compassion. The sea turtle teaches us that meaningful progress is rarely about dashing toward the finish line. It is about placing one careful flipper in front of the other, trusting that each deliberate movement, however small, carries us forward through shifting tides and unexpected currents. When we feel overwhelmed by the distance left to travel, we can recall the turtle's unwavering patience and remember that every moment of perseverance matters. The otters remind us that our spirits are not meant to bend under the weight of seriousness alone. In the midst of life's hardships, we must learn to carve out spaces of lightness and laughter, to tumble into play with the same abandon that they do, and to recognize that joy itself is a form of resilience, binding us together and renewing our sense of possibility. And the elephants show us that no journey worth taking is meant to be walked alone. Their willingness to stand by one another in times of danger and grief reveals that empathy, when freely given and received, becomes a source of strength far greater than any solitary effort. In our own lives, extending a hand in understanding can transform burdens into bridges, carrying us through challenges we never could have faced alone. Now, pause for a moment and turn your attention inward. Reflect on a dream or goal you have carried for a long time, one that still feels just out of reach. In its pursuit, have you ever let impatience whisper that the effort is too slow or that the miles remaining are too many? What might change if you honored the sea turtle's lesson of slow persistence, trusting that every small step, taken consistently, brings you closer to the shore you seek? Consider, too, the spaces in your life where laughter has grown scarce. Have you begun to equate productivity with worth, pushing playfulness aside as frivolous or unimportant? How might your days shift if you allowed yourself to embrace moments of spontaneous joy, like the otters, knowing that such moments are not distractions, but vital fuel for creativity and connection? And finally, ask yourself where you have carried burdens alone. Fears you have hidden, griefs you have shouldered, uncertainties you have locked away. What tenderness might enter your life if, like the elephants, you reached out to share those burdens with someone you trust? How might the simple act of opening your heart to another transform isolation into solidarity and worry into collective courage? In the tapestry of your life, let the sea turtle's steady journey become your reminder that progress need not be rushed. Let the otter's jubilant play rekindle your sense of wonder and delight. Let the elephant's gentle solidarity inspire you to weave threads of empathy through every relationship. These lessons from the wild are neither lofty ideals nor distant analogies. They are living invitations to realign our pace, our priorities, and our partnerships with the timeless flows of nature. By moving forward with patient persistence, by making room for unguarded laughter, and by lifting one another in moments of need, we reclaim the balance and wholeness that modern life so often obscures. So the next time you feel drained by the race, burdened by the weight of seriousness, or isolated by the challenges you face, Remember that the wisdom of the turtle, the otter, and the elephant is not locked in some unreachable wilderness. It lives in the gentle choices you make each day. Breathe in their teachings. Let your path unfold one mindful step at a time, enlivened by play and held by the hearts of those who walk beside you. In doing so, you awaken to a life of true resilience, joy, and connection, an existence in harmony with the natural rhythms we are born to remember.